Hey everybody, just a quick announcement. Story San Francisco has booked our first live event. It's going to be Wednesday, April 18th at Café du Nord at 7 p.m. And the event is called Working with Death. It's part of the Reimagine End of Life week-long series of events all over the Bay Area. And I'm very honored and thrilled to be part of it. Our lineup is going to include episode 10 storyteller Graham Cowley, storyteller and HIV training curriculum developer Ed Wolf, and all-around badass artist and AIDS war veteran Mason Smith. So hope you can join us. The event is up on the Facebook page. Ticket information will be available soon, so be on the lookout for that. All right, here's the episode.
When I first moved to the Bay Area, I started out in Richmond, California in the East Bay. I moved here with my ex-husband, and we decided it wasn't going to work out. So I moved in with my best friend's brother in the Tenderloin. Tender Knob is what we called it then, and began my city experience.
That was Red Cross Disaster Program Specialist Allison Biddinger. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. Welcome to episode 23. In part one of Allison's podcast, she'll share some adventures and misadventures from her early days in San Francisco, ending with her apartment on Oak Street, and talking about just how nuts the streets of the city are these days. Here's Allison.
One of the stories I wanted to share was my first street fair in San Francisco. While I was still living in Richmond, I worked for a woman who had an in-home daycare, and her daughter worked there, and her daughter invited me, hey, you want to come to the Folsom Street Fair in San Francisco with us? She was going with a couple of friends, and I was like, oh, that sounds great, going into the city and a fair, some street food. I had no idea what the Folsom Street Fair was. I just made my assumptions. And then at the time, she had been dating somebody who owned the building on 9th and Folsom. It was a bar. I forget the name what it was then. It's new and different now.
I'm sure, of course.
But so we went there, and she took me in and showed me around. And we went upstairs to the fire escape and went out on the fire escape, and I looked out, and the fair was gathering. People were coming, and I was like, oh, there's leather and whips, and I had no idea where is the hot dog or the, oh, there it is.
The cotton candy.
Yeah, so
a lot of leather whips and a lot of skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was eye-opening, and it was one of those things where I was shocked. I came from a small town in Idaho of 5,500.
I was just about to ask where had you come from, and also you were living in Richmond, California, not the neighborhood. Like, how much exposure had you had to San Francisco? And
maybe like one or two visits.
Right.
And so I really had seen some parts of the city, but didn't really get the feel of it yet. It was just exciting, and I was really excited to be in the city and around it, and around so much difference.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and I also loved the anonymity, coming from a small town where everybody knows you and knows your business. I think when I get older, that might be nice and comforting, but as a teenager and young adult, it was kind of stifling.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I really loved about the city, was that I could come and be a part of a crowd and not be like Mike and Roxy's daughter.
So you're up on the fire escape and taking all this in.
Taking it in, and just I think my eyes were probably really big, and I was just like, wow, they're so brave, and I just don't, I didn't understand it, but I was like, this is amazing. Whatever it is, I'm so happy to be here.
Right.
And stayed for a few hours, and then did
You
a
went
little more
down.
walk.
You went
I
down.
didn't go. Oh, I think I did. I went down and walked around back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and I've since gone to a couple
Mm-hmm.
for entertainment purposes, but yeah, that day it was kind of just a big shock. And so every time there was another fair, I mean, we have fairs all summer long, every weekend all over the city. And so every time there was another one, I'm like, but what is it? Like, what are we celebrating? Another story that just came to me, telling you about moving in with Dustin and then moving to my first studio in the city. I lived on the 6th floor and had a neighbor who was kind of like the cranky old lady neighbor who was kind of threatening and said that I was loud, which I'm far from loud.
Had she been there for
forever?
6,000 years?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was many years ago, like 2004, 2005. And in 2009, I started volunteering with the Red Cross.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the activities that I loved is the DAT team, which stands for Disaster Action Team.
Okay.
It's a team of volunteers who go out to a fire or a flood or any type of major disaster, even power outages and things like that. And we support the residents who are affected.
Mm-hmm.
So not long after I started volunteering, there happened to be a giant fire in the building right next to my old one.
Oh
so
my
I
God.
wasn't living there, but I was volunteering here and responded to that fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the evacuation center had been set up in the St. Francis Hospital.
Okay.
And so I went in there and I was helping and registering people. And this woman came up to me in a bathrobe and started talking to me. And I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, that's my old neighbor. It was so bizarre and just really kind of crazy. But
Was she
made it out
nicer
okay.
in a moment of need?
Yes.
Good.
And
did she recognize you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
jump in and be like, remember me? So another story I was going to share about San Francisco was one of I don't think it was my first beta breakers, but it was definitely one of my first ones. I had moved into an apartment on Oak Street, and everybody in that apartment was friends with apartment across the street, and they had a
On
garage.
Fell across the street? Or?
Across the street from Oak.
Oh.
Oak and Laguna.
Oh, before the Panhandle. Sorry.
Yeah, down almost before the freeway.
Got it.
And so I don't remember who came up with the idea, but we decided that we were going to build a bar on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And so for months, our neighbor was building a bar on wheels and just pulling pieces together, and it ended up being spectacular and probably still be standing today if we hadn't taken it all the way out to the ocean. But we built a big bar on wheels, and then they gave me a sign that was probably 4 or 5 feet long, a big sign that said Wild Mustache Ride. And then they gave me gobs of fake hair that you get at like a salon or a hair place where you can buy fake hair.
Okay.
I don't know what they're called, but I had a friend who bought a bunch of that, maybe a craft store, I don't know. But anyway, I had a lot of fake hair, and they wanted me to make a giant mustache. And I was working with kids and crafty, and I got a can of spray glue and made this at least 4-foot mustache. Oh my God. It was hilarious.
Do you know, so 4 feet wide, do you know how thick? We're talking like Tom Selleck or?
It stuck out, and it was kind of a, like the traditional mustache where
like the Pringles can
out.
guy?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. 4 feet?
A lot of hair.
Was it heavy?
It was a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
It was sticky. It was kind of a mess.
Oh my God.
But we got it up, and that was probably one of the most wild parties of the time I've spent there.
So was the sign said free mustache rides, was it mounted on the
bar?
On this bar float?
Bar on wheels. It was mounted, and it was Wild Mustache Ride.
Wild Mustache Ride.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So we had many of us pushing, and you could ride in the bar if you needed a break, and music playing. And the team got it all the way out to the ocean.
Wow.
I don't really remember if I made it out to the ocean, but the bar did. And then when they went and picked it up, it was a good time. It was in the garage for a few years before I finally had to get rid of it. I mean, a lot of my friends at the time were bartenders and servers, and so I think we had a variety, but lots of beer in a keg, plenty of cups.
Fun.
Yeah. I laughed so hard that weekend, and I would say that it's like, it was a U-shaped bar when you could stand up in it, and then the sign was on the back, and it was made out of wood and I think like plywood on the bottom, and
mounted on like a platform that was on wheels.
Yeah, it was fun though. Some of my best memories was my Oak Street apartment there was always always, like, once I moved in, there was always women living there. So it was the ladies of 428. And
it was like a roommate situation?
yeah,
Okay.
flat. And we were on the bottom floor, and there's 4 bedrooms, or 3.5, depending on how you looked at that one under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Claudia is still there.
Wow.
She's been there at least a decade, probably longer. It's terrifying on the streets right now. For people, bicycles. I drive a scooter.
Yeah, it was already bad.
Yeah.
And now it's worse.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I don't know what it takes to change it. Seems like the police department in some parts of the city are really working on it, but
I don't see that. You see that? I don't see that.
I heard an NPR conversation this morning about them, like, putting people boots on the ground, like people out walking, but it was probably promotional,
right?
You know, right. I'm sure they're selling themselves
underwritten
in a nice
by
light,
the SFPD.
Hopefully, they are, really doing something. It feels like things have gotten worse, at least where I live in the Tenderloin.
Yeah,
I don't see like a light at the end of the tunnel, even though we have so many resources. The homeless population and the mess that they leave have just really been hard to deal with the last few years. It's kind of wears me down.
Music for the podcast is by Otis McDonald, aka Joe Bigale. Otis has a new album up on Spotify called Float, so go check that out. Film photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Please remember to follow Storied San Francisco on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the episodes and Michelle's photos of storytellers are up on the website, storiedsf.com. Other ways to listen include Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can reach us by email at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Check back Thursday when Allison will talk about some San Francisco disasters she's worked.